Hello, dear learners. I, Dr. Preeti Khalila Rajka, welcome you all to this session on post-COVID travel trends and youth tourism, where we explore how the COVID-19 has transformed global travel behavior. This is the first unit of Module 20, that is Future Trends and Capstones. In this session, we shall discuss the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism industry, identify emerging trends in post-pandemic travel, explain the concept and importance of youth tourism, analyze behavioral patterns of youth travelers, evaluate opportunities and challenges in youth tourism. Now, let us begin our journey into understanding how youth tourism is shaping the future of the tourism industry. First of all, we shall move to the introduction section. The global tourism industry, one of the largest and most dynamic sectors of the world economy, witnessed an unprecedented crisis during the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Beginning in early 2020, the rapid spread of the virus compelled governments across the globe to impose strict measures such as international and domestic travel bans, border closures, quarantine regulations, and nationwide lockdown. These interventions, while necessary for public health, brought tourism activities to an abrupt standstill. Airlines were grounded, hotels remained vacant, cultural sites and attractions were closed, and millions of people employed in tourism and hospitality face severe economic uncertainty. Unlike previous crises that were often regional or short lived, the pandemic had a global and prolonged impact, disturbing every component of the tourism value chain. It not only reduced tourist mobility but also fundamentally altered travelers' perceptions of safety, risk, and mobility. The concept of travel itself underwent a transformation from being associated with leisure and exploration to one requiring careful consideration of health protocols and personal safety. However, as vaccination programs expanded and restrictions gradually eased, the tourism sector began to recover. This recovery phase has not been a simple return to pre-pandemic norms. Rather, it has been characterized by the emergence of new travel patterns, preferences, and priorities. Travelers were now more conscious of hygiene, prefer less crowded destinations, and often choose experiences that are meaningful, sustainable, and closer to nature. The pandemic has accelerated several pre-existing trends such as digitalization, sustainable tourism, and personalized travel experiences. Within this evolving landscape, youth tourism has emerged as a particularly resilient and influential segment. Youth travelers, generally defined as individuals between the age of 15 and 29, have demonstrated a remarkable ability to adapt to changing travel conditions. Their flexibility in terms of time, budget, and destination choices, combined with their familiarity with digital tools, has allowed them to respond quickly to new travel opportunities and constraints. A defining feature of youth tourism in the post-pandemic era is its strong digital orientation. Young travelers rely extensively on online platforms for information, booking, and sharing experiences. Social media, travel apps, and digital communities play a critical role in shaping their travel decisions. Moreover, youth are more inclined towards experiential and purpose driven travel, seeking authentic cultural interactions, adventure activities, and opportunities for learning and personal growth. Another important aspect is the alignment between youth tourism and emerging post-COVID travel trends. For instance, the growing interest in domestic tourism, ecotourism, slow travel, and workation restores strongly with the preferences of young travelers. Many young individuals are combining travel with remote work or education, thereby redefining traditional tourism patterns. This unit in this video therefore aims to examine the interaction between post-COVID travel trends and youth tourism, highlighting how these two forces are collectively shaping the future of the tourism industry. By understanding these evolving dynamics, stakeholders, including policymakers, tourism businesses, and local communities, can better respond to changing demands and developing strategies that are innovative, inclusive, and sustainable. In essence, the post-pandemic era marks not just a phase of recovery, but a transformative period in which youth tourism is likely to play a central role in redefining global travel behavior and industry practices. Now we shall discuss the impact of COVID-19 on global tourism. The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic had a profound and multifaceted impact on the global tourism industry. As one of the most interconnected sectors, tourism was among the hardest hit, experiences disruptions at an unprecedented scale. The effects were both immediate, causing a sudden halt in activities, and long-term reshaping the structure, functioning, and future direction of the industry. Now, first of all, we shall discuss the immediate impacts. Massive decline in international arrivals. One of the most visible consequences of the pandemic was the sharp decline in international tourist arrivals. With countries imposing travel bans, closing borders, and suspending visa services, global mobility was severely restricted. Popular tourist destinations that once welcomed millions of visitors annually witnessed empty streets, deserted attractions, and a dynamic fall in tourism revenue. This decline significantly affected foreign exchange earnings, especially in countries heavily dependent on international tourism. Then, closure of hotels, airlines, and tourism businesses. The sudden drop in demand forced the temporary and, in many cases, permanent closure of tourism-related businesses. Airlines grounded their fleets, hotels and resorts shut down operations, and tour operators faced challenges on an unprecedented scale. Small and medium enterprises, which form the backbone of the tourism sector, were particularly vulnerable due to limited financial reserves. The closure of these businesses disrupted the entire tourism supply chain, from transportation and accommodation to food services and local guides. Next one is job losses in the hospitality sector. Tourism is a labor-intensive industry, employing millions of people worldwide. The pandemic led to widespread job losses and salary reduction across the sectors. Employees in hotels, airlines, and travel agencies and related services face severe livelihood challenges. Informal workers such as street vendors, artisans, and local guides were disproportionately affected, as they often lacked social security and financial support mechanisms. Then, shift in consumer confidence and travel behavior. The pandemic significantly altered travelers' perceptions and attitudes. Fear of infections, uncertainty about travel restrictions and concerns regarding health and safety reduced consumer confidences. Travelers became more cautious, preferring shorter trips, nearby destinations, and flexible looking options. Hygiene standards, cancellations policies, and health protocols emerged as critical factors influencing travel decisions. Now, let us discuss the long term impacts. Beyond the immediate disruptions, the pandemic has led to structural and behavioral changes that are likely to persist, increased emphasis on health, safety, and risk management, acceleration of digital transformations, including contactless services and online platforms, growing preferences for sustainable and responsible tourism practices, then shift towards domestic and regional tourism markets. Another one is re-evaluation of mass tourism models with a greater focus on quality over quantity. Then innovation and transformation in the tourism sectors. Despite the severe challenges, the crisis also acted as a catalyst for innovation and transformation within the tourism industry. Digital adoption, that is, the business rapidly adopted digital technologies such as contactless check-ins, mobile payments, virtual tours, and AI-based customer services. Flexible business models, that is, companies introducing flexible booking and cancellation policies to rebuild consumer trust. Product diversifications. Tourism providers develop new offerings such as wellness tourism, nature-based tourism, and remote work-friendly packages, that is, workinations. Focus on sustainability. The pandemic encouraged destinations to rethink tourism development, promoting eco-friendly practices and reducing over-tourism. Then community-centric approaches. Greater emphasis was placed on supporting local communities and strengthening domestic tourism. The COVID-19 pandemic brought the global tourism industry to a standstill, exposing its vulnerabilities and dependencies on mobility. However, it also created an opportunity for reflections, adoption, and reinvention. The lessons learned during this period are shaping a more resilient, sustainable, and technology-driven tourism sector, better equipped to respond to future challenges. Now let us discuss the emerging trends in post-COVID travel. Health and safety conscious travel. One of the most significant transformations in the tourism sector after the COVID-19 pandemic is highlighted emphasis on health and safety of the customers. The global health crisis has reshaped travelers' priorities, making safety considerations a central element in travel planning and decision making. Unlike the pre-pandemic era where cost, convenience, and attractions dominated choices, tourists now evaluate destinations primarily through the lens of risk, hygiene, and security. Now, the key dimensions of health and safety conscious travel. First one is enhanced hygiene standards. Travelers now expect rigorous cleanliness and sanitation measures across all tourism services. Hotels, airlines, restaurants, and transport providers are required to maintain frequent sanitization of rooms, public areas, and vehicles. Availability of hand sanitizers and hygiene kits, regular health checks for staff, visible cleanliness practices to reassure guests. Cleanliness certifications and safety levels have become important tools for building trust among the tourists. Then, vaccination requirements and health documentation. The introduction of vaccines has added a new dimension to travel protocols. Many destinations and service providers require proof of vaccinations, negative test reports, digital health certificate, or travel passes. Such requirements not only ensure safer travel environment but also influence destination selection, as travelers tend to prefer places with clear and manageable entry regulations. Then increased demand for travel insurance. Uncertainty during the pandemic highlighted the importance of financial protections. As a result, travelers increasingly opt for comprehensive travel insurance that cover medical emergencies, trip cancellations or delays, emergency evacuations. Travel insurance has shifted from being an optional add-on to a necessary component of travel planning. Preferences for less crowded destinations. Crowded tourist spots are now often avoided due to perceived health risk. Travelers show a growing preferences for offbeat and lesser known destinations. Rural and nature based tourism, for example, hills, forests, and beaches. A small group or private travel experiences. This shift has contributed to the decentralization of tourism, promoting regional and local destinations. Implications for the tourism industry. The rise of health and safety conscious travel has compelled the tourism industry to adapt in several ways. First one, implementation of standard operating procedures, that is SOPs, for hygiene and safety. Training of staff in health protocols and emergency response. Use of contactless technologies such as digital check-ins and touch-free payments, which is now became a compulsion of post-pandemic era. Then transparent communications regarding safety measures to build traveler confidence. Destinations and business that effectively demonstrate safety and reliability are more likely to attract post-pandemic travelers. Changing traveler psychology. The pandemic has also led to a psychological shift among the tourists. Greater risk awareness and cautious decisions making, preferences for flexibility in bookings and cancellations, despair for reassurance through visible safety measures. Health and safety are no longer temporary concerns but are expected to remain long-term determinations of travel behavior. In the post-pandemic era, health protocols have become a key factor in destination choice, influencing not only where people travel but also how they travel. The integration of safety measures into every aspect of the tourism experience reflects a broader transition towards more responsible and resilient travel practices. This trend is likely to persist, shaping the future of global tourism in a way that prioritizes well-being alongside enjoyment and explorations. Now we shall discuss the rise of domestic and regional tourism. Due to international restrictions, domestic tourism surged. Local destinations gained popularity and rural and lesser known areas emerged as alternatives. This trend also supports local economies and community-based tourism. Now we are going to discuss youth tourism concept and significance. Youth tourism refers to travel underwent by young people, which we have already discussed, that is the generally age group between 15 to 29 years. This segment represents one of the most dynamic, resilient, and influential components of the global tourism industry. Unlike traditional tourists, youth travelers are driven less by luxury and comfort and are more experienced learning, social interactions, and personal growth. As a result, youth tourism has emerged as a powerful force shaping contemporary travel trends and future tourist development. Youth tourism is not merely defined by age but also by a distinct mindset and travel behavior. It includes a wider range of travel activities such as backpacking and budget travel, educational tours and student exchanges, volunteer tourism, adventure and exploration-based tourism, cultural immersion, and heritage visits. Young travelers often seek authentic, meaningful, and transformative experiences rather than standardized tourist products. Their travel is characterized by independence, flexibility, and a willingness to explore unconventional destinations. Now, significance of youth tourism. Youth tourism holds immense importance for the tourism industry as well as for broader socio-economic and cultural development. High mobility and flexibility in youth tourism. Young travelers typically have fewer responsibilities compared to the older age groups, allowing them greater freedom to travel. They are more willing to explore new and emerging destinations. They adapt quickly to changing travel conditions, as seen during the COVID-19 period. They are often to different modes of transport and accommodations. This flexibility makes youth tourism a resilient segment, capable of sustaining tourism even during uncertain times. And then longer duration of travel. Unlike conventional tourists who often travel for short vacations, young youth travelers tend to undertake extended trips lasting weeks or months. Combine travel with study, internship, or work opportunities. Engage deeply with destinations. Longer stays lead to higher overall economic contributions to the local communities, even if daily spending are relatively low. Then strong influence on future travel trends. Youth travelers are considered trendsetters in the tourism industry. They influence destinations' popularity through social media and peer networks. Their preferences shape tourism products and services. They often determine future travel patterns as they continue traveling into adulthood. The habits and expectations formed during youth often persist throughout life, making this segment critical for the long-term sustainability of tourism markets. Then contributions to cultural exchange. Youth tourism plays a vital role in promoting cross-cultural understanding, global awareness and tolerance, exchange of ideas, traditions and lifestyles. Youth travelers actively interact with the local communities, participate in cultural activities and often engage in language learning and community-based tourism. This fosters mutual respect and global citizenships. Then early adoption of innovation and technology. Youth travelers are typically digital natives, making them early adopters of online booking platforms and travel apps, social media for travel inspiration and sharing, digital payments and contactless services, emerging technologies such as virtual tours and AI-based travel planning. Their acceptance of innovation drives the tourist industry towards greater digitalizations and modernizations. Then broader economic and social impact. Youth tourism contributes significantly to development of budget and alternative accommodation sectors, hotels, homestays, etc. Growth of local and rural tourism destinations, employment generations, especially in informal sectors, promotion of sustainable and responsible tourism practices. In essence, youth tourism is far more than a niche market. It is a strategic driver of innovations, cultural exchange, and sustainable growth in the tourism industry. Its unique characteristics such as flexibility, curiosity, and digital engagement make it particularly relevant in the post-pandemic context. As young travelers continue to explore new ways of experiencing the world, they will play a crucial role in shaping the future direction of global tourism. Now, let us move to the conclusion. The COVID-19 pandemic has marked a turning point in the history of global tourism. fundamentally transforming both the structure of the industry and the behavior of the travelers. What began as a health crisis soon evolved into an economic and social challenge, exposing the vulnerabilities of a sector heavily dependent on mobility and global connectivity. However, the crisis also created opportunities for reflections, innovations, and strategic transformations. In the post pandemic era, tourism is no longer driven solely by leisure and consumption. Instead, it is increasingly shaped by safety, sustainability, and technology. Travelers are more conscious of hygiene standards, health protocols, and risk management, making safety a central component of the travel. At the same time, there has been a noticeable shift towards sustainable and responsible tourism practices, with greater emphasis on environmental conservation, cultural sensitivity, and community participations. Another defining feature of the post-COVID tourism is the rapid digitalization of services. From contactless check-ins and digital payments to virtual tours and AI-based travel planning, technology has become more integral to ensuring both convenience and safety. These changes have not only changed operational efficiency but also reshaped customer expectations in a more technology advanced directions. Within this evolving landscape, youth tourism has emerged as a key driver of recovery and growth. Young travelers have demonstrated remarkable resilience and adaptability in responding to new travel conditions. Their openness to change, familiarity with digital tools, and preferences for flexible and experience based travel have enabled them to quickly embrace emerging trends. Post-COVID travel patterns, such as the rise of domestic tourism, workinations, that is, work and vacations, slow travel, and responsible tourism, closely align with the interest and value of the youth travelers. Many young individuals prefer exploring nearby or lesser known destinations, engaging in meaningful cultural experiences, and combining travel with work or learning opportunities. This alignment positions youth tourism as a strategic segment capable of revitalizing the tourism industry. Moreover, youth travelers play a critical role in influencing broader tourism trends through their active use of social media and digital platforms. Their travel choices, reviews, and shares experiences contribute to destinations' popularity and shape market demand. As early adopters of innovations, they also encourage the industry to continuously evolve and adapt. In conclusion, the post-pandemic tourism landscapes represents not merely a phase of recovery but a transition towards a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable model of tourism development. Youth tourism, with its dynamic nature and forward looking approaches, is expected to remain at the forefront of this transformation. By embracing new trends and redefining travel experiences, young travelers will significantly contribute to the future growth, diversifications, and sustainability of the global tourism industry. Thank you. Thank you very much.